after the first Grand Prix of 1988 in Brazil, the Formula One scene comes to Europe for the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola in Italy. But it's a very different scene here. Different type of circuit, different weather conditions. It's overcast at the moment and rain is threatening. But like Brazil, McLaren have dominated practice here at Imola. Prost won easily in Rio in the brand new McLaren Honda, so every other team has been trying to close the gap. But here in Italy, the gap is even bigger. The two McLarens crushingly dominating practice. Ayrton Senna, his second pole of the year, ahead of his teammate, double world champion Alain Prost, and an astounding 3.3 seconds faster than the third man, Nelson Piquet. So it looks like a McLaren whitewash, but who knows? As ever, though, here at Imola, there's been plenty happening in the pit lane. Last year, the British Tyrrell team won both 3.5-litre World Championships. So, for this year, they produced a new, and they thought, improved car. But at Brazil, it turned out to be not improved at all.
The problem was that the car was too slow by about 3 seconds a lap. It was difficult to drive. It didn't have enough grip for the amount of drag it had in a straight line. You know, we can always pile on more wing to get more grip, but then you go slower down the straight. We've actually increased the wheelbase of the car by putting in an 8-inch spacer, you can see there, between the engine and gearbox, and that's had a beneficial effect too, making the car a little bit quicker and a little bit easier to drive.
Well, you've driven it at Imola. Is it better? Is it good enough?
It's not good enough, no, but it is better.
For the financially strapped little Italian Osella team, Imola was a disaster before practice even began, because when the car was scrutineered, it was excluded because the engine mounting points had been changed, as a result of which the regulations had been flouted. So, at Imola, no Osella. These are the very pretty and effective 3.5-litre Lolas, but there's a popular fixture missing from the Lola garage here at San Marino, Australian designer Ralph Bellamy, who has left the team. And his place is now being taken by the boss man at Lola, Eric Broadley himself. This distinctive feature, a humped back, is on a brand new car in the pit lane, the beautifully constructed Italian Dallara with a 3.5-litre Ford DFZ engine. The Ligier team are already having a season they'd rather forget. They produced an entirely new car for 1988, and a revolutionary one at that. But it has given major handling problems. So they have redesigned the rear suspension, but it's clear that the problem is in the aerodynamics area, and it's back to the wind tunnel. Well, a disheartened Ligier team have sadly got even more time for that wind tunnel work than they thought, because neither Arnoux nor Johansson have qualified, nor have Larori's Eurobrunn or Schneider's Zakspeed. So, on pole position, Ayrton Senna in his second race for McLaren. Pole position at Brazil too, but no points, because after brilliantly fighting through from last to second, he was excluded for contravening the start regulations. In second place on the grid is Alain Prost. He's won 3 times at San Marino, although he was excluded in 1986 for finishing with his car underweight, and he has a very worthy adversary in Ayrton Senna. No team orders. Nelson Piquet is third on the grid, world champion 1987. He won here in 1981. He was third in Brazil. This is his second race for Lotus, but he is sadly off the pace thus far. Fourth is the brilliant Italian Alessandro Nannini, the top atmospheric induction driver in his Benetton Ford, more than justifying Peter Collins' decision to recruit him. But a lowly 11th, Nigel Mansell. This is his lowest starting position for 42 consecutive races after problems setting up the new Williams reactive suspension. Derek Warwick is 14th in the Arrows spare car he qualified.
Julian Bailey has qualified for his first Grand Prix in the Tyrrell, in spite of the fact that it is still handling very badly. And Bailey's team partner, Jonathan Palmer, the 3.5-litre world champion of 1987, is 24th on the grid for the same reason, a poor handling Tyrrell. 26 to start then. 60 laps, 188 miles, and almost certainly drama in the last few laps. So they are all set now. The starter will press the button for the red and then the green. The San Marino Grand Prix has started. Senna gets away well. Nannini, terrific. Past Prost, who's left very badly on the line. It's Senna, Nannini, Piquet. Berger is well up, so is Patrese, and so is Eddie Cheever as they go round the left-hander at the Tamburello. It is Senna leading. Piquet is now second. Down to third goes Nannini. Up to third comes Patrese. Patrese in the 3.5-litre Judd-powered Williams is third ahead of Nannini. Berger is in fifth place. Eddie Cheever is sixth. There is Alain Prost taking Cheever, and sixth place Senna, Piquet, Patrese. Then the Benetton Ford up now towards the Tosa. Then from there to the Piratella, through the Acqua Minerale. That's the chicane that they're at now. Now they start to climb a little, and there is Cathy and the Scarlet Ferrari. 3 Scarlet cars, but Senna leading, trying to build up a gap between himself and Piquet, Patrese, then the Benetton.
Yes, Capelli going well. He got past Boutsen going into the chicane there, but it'll be interesting to see what tactics Alain Prost adopt, having made a poor start, and I think he was boxed in on the long run down to the first corner by the normally aspirated cars. Couldn't really use his turbo power, but I wonder if he'll elect just to take it easy in the early part of the race and try and, as it were, build up a credit balance of fuel rather than waste fuel trying to fight his way past a group. I would suspect that would be the right tactics, and I'm sure he'll do it, and hope that he's got more fuel left in the latter part of the race than his turbo rivals, because it's certainly expensive on fuel when the cars are tightly packed ahead of you as they are now.
Coming up now towards the Tamburello, on from there to Tosa, the climb from Tosa to the Piratella. Piquet's easing away a little, but he's not closing the gap as Senna goes through. There's Piquet. Patrese still third. Berger fourth. Prost is up into fifth position now on lap 3. And Nigel Mansell has made one place. He is in 10th position at the present moment.
And that looks like Capelli, who has stopped. So what a shame for Ivan Capelli. He was going very well, of course, in front of his home crowd here in Italy. Now this is where Prost might just turn his boost up to try and dispose of Berger, because he's getting a bit of a tow down the straight, and I think, yes, he has. Prost has hit the boost button by the look of it, but I think Berger's responded by doing the same thing. And that'll be annoying for Prost because he's wasted fuel, but he's got out of the corner quicker. Can he out-drag Berger up the hill? And it certainly looks like it, and Prost is through into 4th place. Now he shouldn't have too much difficulty if he can get close up behind the Williams. He's got the big power advantage when they get onto the straight next time, and then he will feel a lot happier when he's in clear air.
And meantime, Ayrton Senna on lap 5 out of 60 is now nearly 6 seconds ahead of Nelson Piquet, who is 1 second ahead of Patrese, who has got Prost behind him in 4th position, and he won't be there all that much longer, I think, because Prost has got a power advantage over the 3.5-litre Judd-powered Williams, which he will soon exploit, because he's coming up to the really quick part of the circuit after this lap has completed, from the start and finish point through the Tamburello up to the Rettifilia.
and Tosa, it's about 190 miles an hour, and this is going to be Prost's opportunity. He's fourth at the moment in the red and white car, chasing Patrese, ahead of Berger there, number 28 in the scarlet Ferrari in fifth position. Nannini is still sixth. Now, is Prost going to get that third position here from the 3.5-litre car of Patrese? He's right on his tail. He's going for it. He's got the power and he's through on the inside. So it is now Senna leading, Piquet second. Prost is gaining in third place in the second McLaren Honda. Patrese down to fourth, still ahead of the turbo Ferrari of Berger, fifth. Nannini has got the Ferrari just in front of him. Nannini in sixth position. Then Eddie Cheever holding on in the White Arrows Megatron seventh. Boutsen is eighth. Mansell is still ninth. Streff is 10th in the AGS. Warwick is 11th. Tarquini is 12th. And this Imola circuit has got a bit of everything. It's got tremendous speed, and there goes, back a place goes Berger. Nannini whistles through on the inside, on the exit to the Acqua Minerale, and regains the place he lost to Berger. And Ferrari look as though they're in trouble already. Alboreto is way down the field after a dreadful practice, and Berger is sliding back.
Yes, they had a lot of engine trouble in practice. They couldn't get the engine's brain working quite right. Apparently they changed quite a lot of the...
And Boutsen has moved up a place now. He's ahead of Eddie Cheever. He is in seventh position.
Now, Patrese already getting wide at him. Patrese moved over a bit then, but that is what we expect. And if Nannini didn't expect it, we'll soon find out, because it won't be... We'll keep doing that until Nannini can find a way past.
There is a very fine line, of course, between holding your racing line and being deliberately bloody-minded and obstructive, and that is exactly what a lot of people in the past have accused Patrese of being and doing. And he's demonstrating that there is a very fine line at the moment as he grimly holds on to his fourth place.
And this is where Nannini needs to be. The other top turbo teams will be joining these top teams with normally aspirated cars next year, and this certainly augurs very well indeed for good motor racing next season. Tremendous four-car scrap, and Nannini has finally done it, and he did it as we suggested. He sent Patrese to sleep. Patrese was not defending his position then. He sold him a dummy, and Patrese left the door wide open. After all that blocking and things, he just fell asleep on the job. So here he's hit again now. Patrese doesn't think he's close enough, leaves the door wide open, and Nannini thinks it's his birthday, because I'm sure he didn't expect a present like that.
But in this race of mounting excitement, Senna on lap 26 now leads Prost by 9.5 seconds. Piquet is hanging on to his third place ahead of this titanic battle for fourth place, which is now held by Alessandro Nannini, who's pulling away. You can see there.
Engine sounds healthy at the moment, so one would have to suspect that he's got a bit of tyre problem or something like that, or something's gone wrong with the balance of the car, because it looks fairly minor. And looking at it again, here is Boutsen, and goes, which is effectively the outside, it's the inside of that corner, but the outside of the main one that comes up, but he got clean through, you see, and was able to let his car swing across the road and block any response from Patrese. So Patrese has dropped 3 places in one lap, in the space of a lap, because Nannini managed to get his wheels inside Piquet's. Piquet was up against the curb. He couldn't go any further over himself, and you don't want to touch wheels from there, because they start flying in the air and doing all sorts of horrible things. So there you see confirmation of Prost's another fastest lap. That's 2 on the trot. He's been bringing the times down, and he's now got the gap back out under 10 seconds. It's 9. Staked by Boutsen. He went in a bit quick, and he's pushing Mansell onto the grass, which is naughty by his standards, and he's only got Nannini now to go to the top of the atmosphere cars. But meanwhile, I think Nannini's got a lot more speed in him than he's being able to show at the moment, because Piquet is definitely holding them up.
This is just the sort of drive that we expect from fighter Nigel Mansell, who's forced his way up from 11th to 5th place. He started in 11th place because it was difficult for him to get the reactive suspension of his Williams absolutely right. Now he's come up to 5th position by getting ahead of Boutsen. Race order on lap 34 in this 60-lap race. Senna leading Prost by 9.5 seconds. Piquet is 40 seconds behind Prost. Nannini is right behind Piquet.
He's not quite close enough, you see. He just can't quite. He needs to be really only going to get bigger and bigger, and at some stage he's going to have to compensate and turn his boost right down. So Piquet lapping now quicker than he's done at any stage before in the race, which also might lend a suspicion that he's turned up his boost. That's not to say that he has, because remember, the cars all will go steadily quicker anyway during the race as the very heavy fuel load comes down. It's when they start a Grand Prix, they're well over half, or certainly the normally aspirated cars with an unlimited fuel, they're well over half as heavy again as when they finish the race empty. And that, of course, makes them quicker as they get lighter. But still, the Honda turbo power is telling, but it's under acceleration away from the corner that Piquet said, oops, and Nannini looks as if he lost it there. And he most certainly did. Nannini, bad mistake from Nannini, just let the back get away from him. And all the good work, or a lot of the good work, has gone out of the window. He's now dropped, he's just managed to get it going before Berger arrived, but he's back behind Patrese as well.
Yes, down to 7th place, but of course in the process Nigel Mansell gains a place.
There is Senna working his way through the traffic now. Prost, the gap to Prost still just over 11 seconds. They're both in a bit of traffic, but completely a race entirely of their own. And really, the theory that I was mentioning earlier, that mumblings from Lotus, that they felt that Nakajima hadn't got any quicker, therefore they concluded that Piquet was a lot slower than Senna, having had that for comparison last year. It's a view that I share, and it's a view I think that probably Nelson Piquet shares, although he wouldn't tell anybody, because that might well explain his extraordinary public histrionics about Senna during the winter and about everything in general, in that having won the World Championship, he just seems to have become a very angry man. But I strongly...
They're not up to the Honda engine in the way that the McLaren is. Mansell can do nothing about it, but tries to go round the outside of him. Boutsen right up behind Mansell. This is the battle for 3rd place. 3rd Piquet and the Yellow Lotus. 4th Mansell, 5th Boutsen, 3 different makes of car. And meantime, Riccardo Patrese is charging in 7th place. He is now just over 7 seconds behind the 6th place man, and there he is. It is, of course, Alessandro Nannini going into the Acqua Minerale bends. Now they climb up from the right-hander to the Variante Alta, and Mansell is passed by both Boutsen and Nannini.
Well, that was a definite problem, unless he just missed gears and got a box for a neutral, that he went out of shot, but looked like he got a serious problem there, Mansell. We didn't pan wide to see where he disappeared to. And there is Nigel Mansell cruising in, obviously in trouble, but a very encouraging race for him, I'm sure.
Yes, and also a very discouraging one, of course. A brilliant drive coming up from 11th to that 4th position, but terribly disheartening. I wonder if his engine has let go. I have little doubt that it will not be his last. And it's, I'm sure, the start of a season-long battle for supremacy between him and his teammate Alain Prost, who said just a day or so ago, I have never had as dedicated a teammate against me as Ayrton Senna is. But he is fair. Senna, 4th place Thierry Boutsen, but in the very closing stages of the race, Gerhard Berger took Alessandro Nannini and 5th place, but the Benettons have both finished in the top 6. Eddie Cheever 7th, Nakajima 8th, Derek Warwick in 9th place, Streff in 10th position, Louis Sala in 11th place, Dalmas in 12th. Riccardo Patrese dropped right back to 13th position, Jonathan Palmer finished 14th, Maurizio Gugelmin 15th, Campos 16th, Alio 17th, and Modena in 18th position. And after that superb San Marino Grand Prix, Alain Prost continues to lead the World Championship with 15 points. But up into second place with 9 points goes his teammate Ayrton Senna. Tying for third place, Nelson Piquet and Gerhard Berger, 8 points. And tying for fifth place, Britain's Derek Warwick and Belgium's Thierry Boutsen with 3 points. McLaren have increased enormously their Constructors' World Championship lead, 24 points. 14 ahead of Ferrari in second place on 10. Lotus are third with 9, and Benetton are fourth with 4.
With me, the two men of the day, and increasingly it looks like the two men of the year. Ayrton, it's never easy to win a Grand Prix, but you made it look very easy. How difficult was it?
Oh, of course, it's never easy, especially when you run together with Alain. But the handling of my car was very good, and I only had problems right at the beginning after 5 or 10 laps. Some smoking coming under braking, so I thought this is another one I'm not going to finish. Then carry on. Then I had a gearbox problem when the gear lever started to get loose. I said it's just a question of time, but stay together, and then was just a question looking after the fuel all the time, trying to keep the difference with Alain between 6 and 10 seconds, and overtake the slow cars, which were a lot of cars and difficult.
My race was not too bad, but because I missed the start, it was a little bit different. I had to overtake cars and put a little bit more boost at the beginning. I was down on fuel. Then I had to be a little bit more conservative on fuel, but I was too conservative.
Well, there is no doubt that you have a very worthy foe in the team in Ayrton Senna.
Yeah, sure, it's quite good. We are working well together, and this kind of race is good for spectators and even for us. We are fighting. It's fair. I mean, at the moment we have no problem, and being first and second for sure. I'm pleased with Ayrton. He missed a race 2 weeks ago. Quite happy to finish second, still leading the championship. The most important is we have one car, fantastic, and we can. I think we are going to win the championship again, McLaren. And who is going to be the champion is going to be Ayrton and me, I think.
Well, two very happy men here at Imola. In a fortnight's time, the Monaco Grand Prix. Are they going to be happy there? Join us on Grand Prix and